that was the case. They had a waiting list. I just put it on there. Well, hello, whoever it is, it's just joined me. So I just trying to figure out how that happened, because normally you press to go live, then it will, go into the viewing. But anyway, hello, hi, whoever's joined. So I just wanted to just share some of the stuff I find bizarre. Seeing it's alive, you might be able to, or should be able to, say what you reckon. Live chat, just make sure that the chats are all visible. If you're watching, if you want to test this out, and just send me something and just see if it comes up. It's just quite. I'm fairly novice at doing lives, so I'm just getting used to all the settings. So I've got my other device here with pictures on it. Oh, it's yourself. Ah, nice to hear from you. I hope you're doing well yourself, Dave. That's good to see you. I've got stuff on. I'm going to show you from the other device. I was hoping to be able to upload things on the screen while I'm doing a live, but I think it's something like Stream Master or something. There's an app. I've not downloaded that yet, but I'll have to look into that. But in the interim, I'll just show you by simply doing, putting the stuff up on here, like, because I've got another device that I've took pictures on. So if I go to the files on this, I should be able to bring up some of the stuff. I've got loads of things. I mean, the thumbnail that I used, it was, I don't know where to start. I'll just see how this comes out. First of all, just see, you're going to get the reflection. That's the bit that's really annoying me. That's just the window, by the way. It's I'll switch this off. Could you see? What am I doing? I'm getting a bit flustered. Hang on. Could you see that picture okay? Are you able to see that? It's the sky, and there's lots of like unusual clouds. I hope that you could see that okay. I'll check the chat to see if that's see, I don't know if you're able. I was just hoping. I didn't think that the light might be an issue. If you see that, as if I'm going to have a watch for that. Looks good, mate. You can see it clearly. That's good. That's good. This is the best I could do at the moment until I figure out something. Because I've got my phone balanced on the steering wheel, so it's a bit low tech at the moment. Like, if I had my laptop, it'd have to be online. I'd have a bigger screen. But yeah, anyway, it was just lots of things that I find bizarre. I was driving I just don't know where to start. I haven't rehearsed. I never do. I was driving my bus. Was it last week? Earlier this week? No, it was last week. And I was going up. It was going up towards Whitfield. And I just sort of thought I would. The clouds looked like they were artificial. It looks lighter where you are. Yeah, and it campered down. Oh, I've kind of said I don't like to say where I am. I have to watch what I'm doing, because it is live. I don't know who else, because this, I've got to be just sensible. But and at the west end of Dundee, but the clouds. Shortly after you see this, it is sort of controversial. This is just like an example, and then not long after that, you sort of get this haze. The sky could be blue, it could be cloudless, a lovely day, and I've got loads and loads of pictures of it, but and not sort of just making a sort of an observation as to what I've noticed, that when I see this pattern's been going for quite a while, in the last few years anyway. It suddenly starts to get hazy, then it becomes cold, and this is like a very unusual cloud formation. Now, it just strikes me as bizarre because I've never, you know, I've been outdoors for many, many years, like I've been, what, 48 nearly. So I know what the clouds in the sky look like. And I wouldn't be making a video or wouldn't be really noticing anything out of the ordinary if this sort of thing was ordinary. It's just, you might not be able to appreciate just how odd it looks because it's being shown on a device, through a device, on a live stream. So I took a video of it as well. I actually put a video of this on my channel. You know, and it's just, these trails as well, by the way, that particular one was in a straight line, but I've seen them going all squiggly, and I've got loads of photos, tons of them on other devices. And I mean, planes, I just can't understand why they would fly together and all squiggly and everything, and I've got pictures of it. No, that's fine. You get a lot of this as well, which is quite unusual. I don't know if that's going to focus, but all this, you know, I don't remember that. I never remember that. This is only a recent thing for me, and within the last, well, 2018 was probably the sort of a big year for it, because the sky was just littered with, it was just, I mean, crisscrosses, there was squiggly lines and everything. The clouds, the way the sun's meant to set in the northwest, well, it looked like it was setting in the southeast and everything. I've had pictures of them. And the sun as well, it kind of goes, it kind of goes funny, it kind of goes white rather than, you know, it could be a yellow. Now, I've heard before that some people on their channels refer to the sun being like the white sun, and it used to be yellow, it used to be the warm yellow sun, which is what I remember. And you know, the 80s and the 90s and that, there was a warm sun, but I think the charts, I'm going to have to, what I'll do is I'll maybe look through the charts in a couple of minutes. I'll give myself a chance to explain this, then I'll go through them. And say I'm just getting used to doing live, so where was I now? Yeah, the warm sun in the 80s. The summers used to be warm, the sun was yellowish, and the heat was, you know, it was a nice warm, pleasant feeling. And certainly within the last 5 or 6 years, I've noticed myself personally that the sun is kind of going, at times it could be really a bright white colour, and the heat would be very sharp, and it didn't feel so good. I didn't feel so good as well. And sometimes you could see a kind of blue, like, I don't know, it's not a negative feeling, an uncomfortable feeling, and sort of irritable feeling I get with it. Now, I've watched channels that say that they say the yellow sun's gone, you know, bring back wishing that the yellow sun, the nice warm original sun, would come back. Now, I've seen recently that there is times where the original warmth yellow sun has been there momentarily for times, not for very long, not like anything what it used to be, but when it is out, it's nice and warm. It makes it as a positive feeling about it. I feel better. I feel a lot more less irritable, and all this sort of stuff was fairly recent as well, you know, within these last few years. But this is, I mean, as I say, I wouldn't be making an issue of it if this was normal. A lot of people just say, well, I've heard this being referred to as just normal when it's probably the same picture, but I've took more than one. I've got a few subjects on here as well, by the way, so I'm kind of and just winging this, by the way. I haven't really got a set plan, but it certainly isn't the way. It's not normal for me. I don't remember it being like that, and it just don't feel as good when it's that white sun. Today was the light levels as well, certainly at certain times of the day. Like in the afternoon, it could be really dark. You know, I've had to switch on the lights to when I'm driving, I have to put the exterior lights on. When I'm in the house, I've got to put the lights on. And this is in the afternoon. And other times, maybe like the next, and there's the cloud variation doesn't warrant that. The clouds aren't as, it's not, I wouldn't say it would be the clouds that's causing that. Because on other days, sometimes the clouds could be even more, and yet it could be even it could be brighter. I won't even need to put lights on, same time of day and everything. So it's just bizarre. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit because it's the way the light is kind of reflecting off the. So I've got this. I can maybe. I don't know if that'll. It might. It's just that whiteness there. It's kind of getting a glare. But yeah, that's something that I never remember. Aeroplane engines hanging off the edge of the front. They were always built in the wings. Yeah, because that's very far. Yeah, the aeroplanes. It was something when I was going through online with the Mandela effect. I didn't find this one with the planes. I looked online. I was going. This was a few years now, probably 2017 or something. I was looking online and I came across this a channel that pointed this out. And when I looked at it on the channel, I could see right. I looked at it and I thought, oh, that doesn't feel right to me. Like, so I could relate to that one. The aeroplane engines being further forward. Now I do know there's a channel that I watch. It goes into a lot more in depth of, we see it. Well, I see it. Like, they maybe say the next, like everything's got a domino effect. Why would it? How would it have originated with the engine being at the front like that? Why would it have not been underneath the wings like how I remember it and how you remember it? And the other channel as well, and also there's at least two channels. There's the one that I watched that pointed it out, and there's another one that I watch that mentioned it as well. So I'll try not to. I've got to go through a few things like if I can. And so I've just got to be careful because I'm putting in I don't want to show what I'm typing in to get into access to my device, so I've got to be extra careful in life. There's no rewind button. This is something that's alarming to me. I was looking at pictures of cars online. Now, the Ford Cortina, I remember it being, I don't really remember, at first I forgot about it, I'm having a 3-door version, but the Ford Cortina, there is a 3-door version, but this particular picture is what the Cortina looks like. It's a 4-door. I didn't take this picture, by the way, so I can't really claim that. I'm just showing you as an example, just for fair use. Ford Cortina, 4-door. Now, another thing that's really bizarre, if I could find it. Oh gosh, I've got to find it through this now. This is the thing, I kind of got that many files. Just bear with me a minute, please. Yeah, there it is, this 3-door version of the Ford Cortina. But now, again, I won't claim, I didn't take this picture, I'm just showing you for fair use, because it's obviously copyright. It's a 3-door version of the Ford Cortina. At first I looked at that and said, I don't remember them. But then, I don't just dismiss everything as a Mandela effect. I researched it online and I looked around, I thought about it, and I sort of said, yeah, well, maybe this memories were coming back that there is a 3-door version of the Ford Cortina, especially looking at it from that view. Like, now, this is something that I was want to point out that's quite, I find it quite impressive as well as alarming. The Austin Allegro. Now again, this is not my photograph, so I'm just, for fair use, and just quickly showing you. That's what the Austin Allegro looks like. 4-door. Well, yeah, 4-door, because it has got a bit. Now, there's a photo that I saw of the Allegro, and when I saw it, I said, there's no way. I'd never Never with Allegros, Austin Allegros like that. They never had that there. Now it just goes to show, when I researched that, right, it's actually Photoshop. You know, I read through it, and it's so scary just how convincing that was, because I was like, just a bit, I fell for it at first. I thought, well, that's a Mandela effect, because I've never saw an Allegro with that there. It was never like that. It was never a hatchback like that. The Austin Allegro was never a hatchback. I'm just looking what's happened. It's like it's kind of stopped for a minute. I don't know what's going on. Oh no. Oh, probably so. Oh God, I've not messed about yet, have I? No way. Oh no, if that's something, hang on. I hope it's still there. I don't know. It's either, I just hope I'm not speaking to. Yeah, it's still on. It's just that I can't get rid of these. It's like the charts, this thing, I was scrolling through and it's kind of froze. Anyway, I just hope this is still going out. But yeah, it's really done very well. The Photoshop, it just blows me away. And there was bus liveries as well, that buses that had liveries on them that I never remembered, and yet it was Photoshop. I always wonder why and how they do that. It's just scary just how accurate these things are, because I fell for it, you know. And this is another one, but of the Austin Allegro. It was basically to show that it was like a saloon car, you know. The Allegro was never had this bit at the back. But then I looked into it and it was a Photoshop, and impressed with it. It's amazing. It's alarmingly, you know, scary just how easy it is just by simply photoshopping something. And because I thought, oh, that's definitely not how I remember. I never remember my Allegro being like that. So some things are put out there that, I don't know, the full scope of it, it's for a different thing, but it just goes to show how photoshopping and photo doctoring could convince. It's so convincing, like. Oh God. Oh, I've been busy all day actually, and I've just unwind. I don't know if you've tried this. This is maybe a bit off the subject, but this is something new. I haven't tried this before. It's a limited edition. The Cream Iron Brew Extra. So I'm going to be able to give this a bit thirsty. I'll tell you what I think of it as well. Ah, no, something's come through. Oh, here we go. I thought the charts had found what I heard. The answer for the MA. It's the quantum computers. The developed scientists say it's the answer. He says they can reach into multi-worlds like ours and grab. Yeah, I heard that theory before, but quantum computers and stuff. But you know, the other thing I've got to ask as well, ask myself, is that okay? There's things that resemble the Mandela effects, and there are theories out there, but everything that we may put into a category of Mandela effect, does it mean that it's actually from the same source? Is it because of that same effect, that Mandela effect? Is it? Could it not be something else? Like the way that I could say that I've got a list of hundreds of Mandela effects. Mandela effects, as I call them, title them, all Mandela effects. But have they been affected by the same effect or the same phenomenon? It resembles it the same, but is it from the same phenomenon? That's the thing, you see. It's easy to put a label on everything as being a Mandela effect, because like I said, that picture there, I fell for it. I thought that was, I looked at it and I researched into it a bit further, and no, it's actually been photoshopped, and it's amazing. It's impressive, but it's scary. It's just it just shows you how powerful photoshopping is. It's so convincing, influential. It's really convincing. But yeah, quantum computers. I've heard I've heard that before being mentioned. But then to say it's all because of quantum computers, what happens if it's like each and every one of them are caused by a separate phenomena? That's the thing. It's sort of like filtering it and categorising it into one heading, Mandela effect, but but is it? You know, it's easy to refer to it as the Mandela effect, but what else is, I've got loads and loads of stuff in here. I haven't really I haven't rehearsed it. I should have written it down in the numerical order. I've been that busy. Honestly, I've just been busy, and I've just, you know, I've not really done it right as usual. I'm just winging it, so just bear with me a bit. I could have lost it. Yeah, this is something that I found quite odd. It was Friday past there. I filled my car up with, I gave it a wash, filled the car up with petrol, checked the oil, topped up the oil, etc. I reset the tripometer to 0. And I done a bit of driving about on Saturday. Well, Friday night ago, went to my work, came back home. And I done some 0 to 60 tests on this Saturday. That's a video, I done a video of that, it's on there. Sunday I just didn't do much, I just went to the hike pickup. So basically what happened is I looked at the tripometer and there was an extra 15 miles that I couldn't account for. And I racked my brains, I went through it, I wrote it all down, I've got all the distances that I travelled, I added it all up. And there's about 15 miles, something like that anyway, 15 miles that's unaccounted for. And I'm the only one that drives my car. It's been in my, you know, I would know. I added up the miles because I looked at the tripometer and I thought, that's more. At first, this is where it gets bizarre, because I was en route to Caldonbeath for the stock cars, pardon me, on the Saturday night. Oh God! I took my mates out in the afternoon. I had an issue with the car, actually, I had to change the spark plugs, it was misfiring. I've got a video in the pipeline for that as well. And I looked, at first it was 40 miles it wasn't accounted for. Because I was driving to Caldonbeath and it was 40 miles, you know. And then I got back that night and I went through again, and somehow it just seems to have added up to only 15 miles that's unaccounted for. So when it was 40 miles, I was going through my head, where did that come from? I hadn't done as much driving. I was en route to Caldonbeath and 40 miles. The gauge actually kind of showed it was down just that wee bit. And so I didn't have time to think about it because I was en route to the stock cars. I was a bit of a rush to get there on time for it. But I got there. So on the way back, I had more time, and I said I didn't. I was just pretty much busy again, and I was going to bed, and I was up early on the Sunday for my hiking. I was hiking all day yesterday, and it wasn't until I got back yesterday night I actually had a chance to relax. And then I went through it again, and there was 13 miles unaccounted for. So that's bizarre. I've got it logged in, and the petrol gauge kind of confirmed it when it was, you know. I just find it odd. It's the first time that's ever happened. Well, it isn't. I've had odd stuff regarding cars as well, but certainly that is pretty bizarre. On the subject of the cars, going back a good few years ago, probably about 15 years ago, maybe 16 years ago. 15, it was well over 10 years ago, probably nearer 15 years ago. That's when I had the Mark III Astra. It was regarding brake pads on the front discs. There was discs on the front and drums on the back. Now I checked the brake pads, and there was lots of wear left on them. And it takes, you know, quite a considerable time before they wear out. And I was checking for something else. Only a few weeks later, checking for something else. Then I noticed the brake pads were right down. What the heck? This was going back 20 years ago. I couldn't figure out how that happened, because the brake pads weren't worn down just a few weeks prior to that. And I found that really bizarre. You know what I mean? It was they weren't binding. The brakes weren't binding or nothing, because you would smell. You know what I mean? I'd know if the brakes are binding, because as soon as you're coasting, you get to traffic light, it would just stop. You know, if they're not binding, they would stop and maybe go back a bit. But they certainly weren't binding, and nothing broke off them. The pads looked like they'd worn down considerable, like maybe a good 2-3 years use or something. It was just nuts. You know what I mean? How the heck did that happen? I've never forgot it. But at that time, I didn't have smart. I didn't own a smartphone back then, so I didn't really log it in like the way I could log stuff in now. I wasn't aware of the term Mandela effect back then, but I had experienced things similar to that, but on a much less of a scale. I never forgot them, but I certainly experienced stuff that resembles it. Nowhere near to the scale of nowadays. Like, when I say that, I mean within the last 2016. Well, 2016 anyway, but it was quite a pivotal year. That was quite a change that year. Something happened in March 2016. But I don't want to forget when that was something that I found bizarre. Usually I put this in my Quest series, which I'll still be doing, by the way. I just wanted to try out, have another go at the live streaming, so and just what I would normally round on the Quest video would last a fraction of this time. It'd be all properly edited, and so I'm going to do that live. Maybe you could give us explanations. I haven't checked the chats. It's going to go off. Oh, Adventures of Old Mort High. Yeah, just feel free to Geordie Rose, listen to him, mate. Yeah, there was. Oh no, what was it? No. Did you ever get a chance to watch that Parallel Twilight Zone, the original black and white one? The Parallel, it was called. One of the boys in my goes to the saloon car racing. Oh, one of the boys in my goes to the saloon car stock car racing. Tell you what it looks like a class day. Yeah, the saloons. I saw the saloons last Saturday. Yeah, they wouldn't. It's the bangers. That's my favourite formula. Adventures of the old. Well, yeah, the banger racing. I saw the saloons. I like the saloons as well, though, because they're solid. They put on a good show. They're like little tanks. I like that. Powerful, noisy. Good grunt off the engine like that. But they're hard cars. When they smack into that wall, you get the sparks coming off it. I've always liked. I mean, this year will be the 20th year I'll have spectated at the stock car racing. I've been going to banger racing. Your doppelganger has been taken. Your motor outfit. The doppelganger has been taken. Yeah, well, makes me. I put it this way. It's really odd. Yeah, the doppelganger thing. Forgot all about the Twilight Zone. It's the Twilight Zone. The episode's called The Parallel. It's the black and white one, 1963. It's called The Parallel. If you watch that, it's so like the Mandela effect. And this is 1963. That's 60 years ago. It's so canny like the Mandela effect. Give it a go if you can. It's online. You should get the box set. I've got the whole box set of all of them. It's starting to get a bit darker though. I hope. Is that okay actually? Was it better like that? Is that blinding on the screen? I don't know how you see that, but when I'm looking at the screen, it looks like there's a big white. It's like it's blinding that corner there. I can't even see myself blind. But I think if I move about too much, I might pixelate as well. Rod Serling. Yeah, it was Rod Sterling with a T. I was always at a T. It was Sterling because I used to think Rod Sterling. The place called Sterling. Twilight Zone. I hope you found it. Yeah, there's a blooming arrow right in there. Can't read it though because it's blocked with that wee thing. I'll cover it. But anyway, yeah, I'll come back to the chats in a minute or two. I'll just see what else I've got. There's something I'm going to let you hear as well that I found pretty bizarre. It's regarding one of the audiobooks that I listened to. Now, it's the book in its own right is interesting, but you could choose to listen to the audiobook. But this is something that happened whilst I was listening to the audiobook. Now, I was on my break, and I was walking, you know, I had my headphones on and I was having a walk round the town and I was eating a bag of crisps. Right, now I'll just getting to the point. This sounds mundane, but I was listening to this audio book with my headphones on. I was eating a big bag of crisps, right? And I was just having a walk round, and I was listening to the audio book, and this kind of just freaked me out, so to speak, right? I heard the narrator. I've got the recording. I'll let you hear it in a minute. The person that's doing the audio book, you know, he was obviously reading the audio book, and suddenly it sort of made the kind of noise, as if to indicate eating, and I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I was walking up a street, and it was off a Ward Road. It was actually adventuring at the same time, because I don't know what possessed me to do that, but I had some time, and I was walking around, and I looked up, and I was going to have a walk up here by what takes you at the back of the BT buildings, if you know Dundee. And I was just sort of having a look around the street. I hardly been up it, and I was eating crisps, and that came up just in a sentence, and I actually thought somebody had seen me and somehow managed to hack into the phone and were taking the piss. You know what I mean? That's how mad it was. It was just ridiculous. I'll let you hear it because I've got the recording.
Sets the precedent for the clause.
Excuse me, forgive me, I wasn't ready for that. I'll let you hear it anyway. No, I can only let you hear a wee bit because it is obviously copyright, so, but it's just for fair use.
I was eating a bag of crisps, right. And I was...
The audiobook, it's, if you could hopefully see that now, the light's going to be an issue, I think. That's the audiobook I was listening to as it happens. No, I didn't really check it. Yeah, so I'll let you hear. This is just what I said at the time because I logged it in. If I'll play it now.
Eating. Now I'm going to play it back. It's musical. I was eating a bag of crisps and I was listening to my audiobook. During the audiobook, it kind of paused and I got this noise as if to indicate eating. Now I'm going to play it back. It's Musical Truth, Volume 3, Chapter 4, 26 minutes and 18 seconds.
Oh, right, so that was my logging of it shortly after that happened. This is the actual recording.
So it sets the precedent for the clause.
This is the
sets the precedent for the clause that a band's recordings have to be of a commercial. See that? Policies
See that there? So that came up.
Sets the precedent for. Sets the precedent for the clause that a band's recordings have to be of a See that? Policies
So I logged that in. Shortly after that happened, I recorded it from my own logs, and this is the actual log that you heard.
I was eating a bag of crisps, and I was listening to my audiobook. During the audiobook, it kind of paused, and I got this noise, as if to indicate eating. Now I'm going to play it back. It's Musical Truth, Volume 3, Chapter 4, 26 minutes and 18 seconds.
So I actually logged it in. Now that was just really odd. That it was so bizarre because why would the audiobook do that? It was almost like it was taking the piss. I was eating crisps and I was, eating away, and it goes and does that. And I recorded it, so I've let you hear it, and I logged it in. That was a couple of weeks back now, 2 or 3 weeks ago on my break. I was walking along Ward Road, and I turned up that street that goes up towards the back of the BT buildings or something. It goes in a bit of a crescent. It goes up and you turn right again. You end up back on Ward Road. Well, I went up and turned right, and I was on that bit, the road that goes parallel with Ward Road, and then that's when I heard it. I kind of just I shot myself, and I thought surely somebody's taking the piss. Maybe they've hacked in or done something. I actually really did look around. I thought somebody was watching and taking the mickey. I was just expect somebody laughing or something because I was eating. I was munching away at the same time. And the audiobook done that, and I've got the recording of it. I can never understand why that happened. It's just really odd. That would have been Twit bikes. That's mental. Yeah. Oh, for a lot of shit like that happened. AI. Yeah, AI means AI. artificial intelligence. God, it probably knows. It's like if you put the radio on, for example, right? I mean, I could turn it on just for moments. Now, if I was just to say the first word that I'm going to hear on the radio, it might come up. I've done an experiment as well, by the way. So I'm just going to try this, right? I'll get to that in a minute. So I'm going to turn the radio on in a minute. I can't obviously play properly music, but this is maybe my CD first, no doubt. I'll go through that.
This is Rick Rando on Pure Radio Scotland. It's about 9:20 now, and this morning was our first ever, I say our first, not the first ever, but it was a return of the £5 snap.
That was, because this is live this year, I wouldn't be allowed to broadcast something live, but I was hoping something like a word would come up. But I'll tell you, right, I kid you not, I swear to God, I was with my mates, I was coming back I took my mates to Edinburgh a couple of weeks back, a few weeks ago. On the way back home, we were going through Fife, and we were blathering away, and then we got into the subject. Well, you know what I like, I was always talking about strange things, and Louise there in the back, I says to her, in a nutshell basically, right, I says, oh God, what was it now? I says to her, right, in thinking of a word, right, now you'll say what the middle letter is. It was something like that anyway, right? I didn't tell her what I was thinking, and she said it was A, right? No, this is just cutting a long story short. This is how odd it was, and it's happened more than once, by the way. I basically says to her, like, well, we're on the car, and I says to her, well, you know, I'm thinking of a word. Now, if you tell me, I think I was talking about all being connected or something, and it was like we were on about if I went back in time and left a message or something, and then how would we've gone to something. We were talking about it. I remember I was on about the grandfather effect, butterfly effect. But anyway, it was a long story, but in a nutshell, basically, I was thinking of the word car, right? That's what I was thinking of. And I didn't give her any indication. It wasn't like I Spy or anything like that. I just said, right, I'm thinking of a word. No, just to prove it that we're connected, you'll say the letter of the middle, or not the middle letter. I didn't say that, no. I think it was the second letter, because if it was the middle letter would indicate it'd be a 3-letter word. But there was more than once it happened anyway. There was one time, a longer one, I can't remember off the top of my head right what it was. I didn't get a chance to log it there, and then we were talking about a lot of stuff after that. But she said letter A anyway, and it was car I was thinking of. And it happened more than once, this experiment. It was totally random. It was just amazing. And what I find odd as well is that when some people find or experience something that's really bizarre, it's sort of like forgotten about. You know, it's like it's not that important, but it's massively important. Yesterday I was coming back I was on the hike club bus. I was blathering away to someone, and I got in, I think they don't know, anyway, I got into about the Mandela effect. And this is the thing that I find odd. They said, this person said that, it's just a small Mandela effect, it's not that important kind of thing, it was just, if it was something big, and I'm like, well, it doesn't matter how small or big it is, it's the fact that it's happened. I didn't say it but it doesn't matter how small the Mandela effect is, or how big it is. It's the point of it. The fact that it could happen is the whole essence of it. That changes everything. Everything. It could just be a simple, it doesn't matter how small it is. It could even if it's just one tiny grain of sand being out of place, even just the smallest of things that you would barely notice. That's all it takes. The fact that it happened is what counts. It's the principle behind it. It can be something as small as that, or something as big as what we're told about the universe. You know, the planets in the universe, and that. Again, that's perception because I haven't been there. But something, I'll tell you what, I can relate to that. It's mind-bogglingly bizarre. It's the position of the heart. I know that, for as far as I'm concerned, the heart was always in the left of the chest. And bizarrely, before I came across this Mandela effect, it's an odd thing, the Mandela effect as well. It's like there's a diffuser or something there. When I say that, I mean, I've done a video on it anyway. I went into detail, but I felt my heartbeat wasn't there as much. I sometimes can't feel it. And then I came across the Mandela effect that the heart moved into the centre. Now, for those of you that I watched, I don't know who's going to watch this and who's watching it now. I know that there's at least two, that are in the charts anyway, that will understand. But if you don't know about the Mandela effect, this is just new to you then. But you're bound to, if you've seen my videos, I've brought stuff up like this before, so it is mind-boggling. But yeah, position of the heart and changes is just quite a significant thing. But even a grain of sand is significant if it's been altered in any way like that. It's the like that bit. What causes it? Does it mean that it's all from the same source? It might not be. It's just weird. It's easy to label it the Mandela effect. It got dubbed the Mandela effect because it's something to do with Nelson Mandela dying and not dying, or something like that anyway. It's easy, I just dub it that because it's referred to as. So I try and say, well, it's the phenomenon that resembles it, because I personally don't know what causes it. But I've heard lots of theories about the Mandela effect, what's causing it and that. But when you have a theory, then that kind of like, I don't know, it narrows it down to what's causing it. Does it mean that everything that's referred to as the Mandela effect has been a direct cause of this source, or could it be other things, or could they each be all caused by or from different sources? I mean, I don't know. I'm not even. It doesn't really matter, because all I know for a fact what I've experienced, and whether it's a Mandela effect or what, I don't know what it is. But I can assure you, I know what I remember. And I came across the phenomenon in the later part of 2016, the Mandela effect. And it resembles it. So, excuse the notifications. I didn't switch the notifications off. I'll just be my luck, the phone will ring or something. Probably will, because somebody be watching it that knows me. Be taking the piss. I'll probably go and phone it. I don't know. I'll see what else there is. I've got. I could spend ages. I don't want to do that. Strange stuff. So the other thing that I found bizarre as well. This is just one of my records that I, from my own login. I'll let you see it and hear it as well. Now, before I play it, I'll just make sure that the light isn't reflecting.
A bizarre thing. Froth, strange sort of froth in the River Tay. And also a lot of chemtrails in the sky. There was a lot earlier on in the day. And there's a bit of a rainbow effect as well, I saw earlier. Just at the side of the sun, just as it's running past the rail station, which is bizarre as well. Same date, 3rd of April 2023.
So I don't know. Tell me if I could play that again, if that didn't come out very well. I hope it didn't. I don't know what happens when I touch that arrow. Right. So just looking through the charts now. But let me know if that didn't come out clearly, and I'll replay it. I'll try and position it better. With a lot of AI, it can interface with our brain. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because artificial intelligence. I think that I've heard theories that 5G is meant to be like the Internet of Things, and connecting the human mind to the internet is one other is to be an idea. I've heard that being mentioned that could happen or may happen, to connect the human brain. Now, the electromagnetics, this is just things that you take for, I just took for granted because I was taught. I haven't seen inside a brain. I've never saw first hand, human brain. Like, I don't like biology anyway, but if there is electromagnetics, like I've heard being mentioned, electromagnetic radiation, that's from electrical energy, and Wi-Fi is the same, and the frequency of Wi-Fi is the same frequency as what they use in the microwave oven. The microwave oven, it cooks food from the inside out because the electromagnetic waves penetrate through and it starts to heat up the inside by doing this with the molecules, the water molecules, the positive and negative move very quick with the frequency of the wave and the movement of the molecules, something like that anyway. The movement of the molecules, the friction created by it cooks the food. Now, Wi-Fi, if the same frequency that used in a microwave oven is designed to penetrate through food, water content food, like, I don't know, whatever you put it, chicken, for example. Not that I use a microwave anyway, not anymore, I haven't for a while. I was always fascinated in how they worked, by the way, ever since I was a kid, but the waves penetrate through. So if Wi-Fi uses the same frequency, it could penetrate through the human, or the whole body, surely, and the brain included. So if it's Wi-Fi, if the electromagnetic radiation is going to go through into the brain because it's set to penetrate through food, like that 2.54 gigahertz. And if that's the same frequency they use on Wi-Fi, then it would not penetrate through humans as well. And if it does that and gets into the brain, and we're told that electromagnetics is a byproduct of electricity, then if there's small charges of electricity in the body, which seems to be widely accepted, then surely there's an interface with that. They could interact. And the frequency is used as a carrier frequency, like the electromagnetic radiation that's used for Wi-Fi is the transmitter wave, and then within that there's other frequencies. Is it frequency modulated? I don't know. They modulate the frequency, like, or is it amplitude? I don't know. I can't remember now. Can't be modulated. They don't vary the frequency. It's maybe the amplitude then, but there's a wave within it. They use the wave to penetrate through, and if there's another wave or other waves added to it that could trigger or stimulate certain parts of the brain via the electrical signals, then it might be able to cause. But I've heard that, I don't know, I haven't tried it. I'm not claiming it. I'm just saying what I heard, what I've read, and they say that it could use that to create, interrupt or cause thought patterns to be altered, feelings to be altered, hearing voices, like by inducing sound in the ear cochlea or something, so you could hear voices, stuff like that. It sounds bizarre, but it only sounds bizarre if you don't know about it. But for the ones that do know about it or design it, it's just going to be like another every day in the office for them. It may seem science fiction, but I think it's widely known though, surely. And if they could do that, then what's to say they can't control people and really interfere? I mean, if it's frequencies, simulators, all this stuff, I don't know, but if it could alter, if you're looking at something outside or whatever, the light waves go into the eye and the brain decodes it as an image. Well, if it could be manipulated with the wave getting into the head, because it's designed to penetrate through me, and then all the other carriers that could interfere with the sight part of the brain that sees what comes in, it comes in through the lens and it's turned upside down and all that sort of stuff. And if it interferes with that, it can maybe make you see things that are different and stuff. I don't know. And then the other way, it could be maybe twofold. If it could register like a transmitter and receiver. A phone's a transmitter and a receiver. So if it could receive what the brain's thinking, like the electromagnetic waves the byproduct, or whatever is caused by it, the electrical pulses in the brain, if it could pick it up, then maybe it could decode it, transmit it along the Wi-Fi to a server, and then be processed, and then it could maybe be altered and then retransmitted to somebody else. Because there's lots and lots of times recently, as an example, I was about to pick up my phone and call someone, and they called me with the same subject. Now that's just one easy example. There's loads of them, I can't think of them all off the top of my head, but I've had things like the adverts on the television. I've actually put a few of them on my Quest series. I went into all that mega coincidences and stuff. Neuralink. Computer games using its mind. Yeah. It's scary what they could do with technology. Maybe people hear voices on that mental health from, maybe they're... Yeah, well, there was something about the people that hear voices, it's to help. If someone's deaf, you could hear by introducing sounds in the cochlea or something, because the deafness part is from the sound waves, because sound wave is basically just the mechanics of the movement of the air molecules that move goes into the brain, something to do with the eardrum or whatever, and then the brain decodes it as sound. But if someone's deaf, or I don't know, don't quote me on this, but if it's that bit is damaged, they could then induce the sound into the part that isn't damaged, and it goes into the brain, and it can be decoded as sound or something. I heard something about that. So, but if it's used for other things, there's a lot of theories on it. It really is alarming. Kid you not. This is something else I wanted to show you. I think I showed you the halo effect in the rainbow. This is another video. I was at what's that place called again? Oh, Clato Reservoir in Dundee. Now it's not just there I've noticed this, but I've noticed this in lots of places, all over the country in fact.
Logging this in, it's the 12th of April 2023 in at Clato Reservoir, and there's a lot of this froth stuff. I've seen this in water streams before, puddles in the roads, River Tay, various places. I mean, lately that is. It's just much more abundant now. I'm logging it in anyway, so I think we go ahead. It's a Clato Reservoir.
So all that white froth seems to be a thing as well. It's not just in reservoirs, I've seen it on road surfaces when traffic goes through on a wet day. It's almost like detergent that's used on the roads. It's that ridiculous. And it's been fairly recently I've noticed this. And not just in Dundee, but in other places round about the country as well. And that was just at that one there was at Clato, not Clato, sorry. Or is it? Not Clato, what's the one up there? It's near St Mary's, is that Clato? Clato, it is Clato, yeah. Maniki. It's Clato Reservoir, yeah. St Mary's, that's where that particular one is. But I've noticed it in the River Tay, in fact I'll show you that next. Maybe people who hear voices. Maybe not, yeah. Let's hope for the chocolate. Wait. Julian Wong's up there. Clato, yeah, it is, yeah. Park's still open. There's still cars coming in, I don't think it. There's Radio 1 show's going to be here at Cut. Oh, well, you know where I am now. I don't like saying where I am on a live. I keep letting that slip. That doesn't really matter, does it? Well, and it's calmed me down. They've got the Radio 1 show. Is it Radio 1 or something? I'm not that into it, but there's a radio show this weekend coming. So all of it's been kind of getting in preparation for this big event now. But alright, so I was going to show you something.
This is just log.
Oh yeah, this is just what this.
I've got thick boots on.
show you what the substance actually behaves like when it's been I'll move. I started altering it. I'll show you what I've done.
Just making an observation. It is quite clingy, this stuff. It's thick boots on, so not really. It's all wonders anyway. That's the characteristics of it. It seems to be kind of like quite a clingy kind of. Looks like bubble bath. So that's how it behaves when I these are watertight boots. Waterproof. Right, logged in 12th April 2023.
So at the Claddagh, and I put I wasn't touching it with my hands. I used my hiking boots, and it was like a kind of the chairs. It was sticky, like you know. And I've noticed this at other places as well, at the River Tay, actually at Warnock Beach. Before it was all done up like there's a bit of a. You were able, well, you can still get down to it, but it was going back a wee while, a few years. I logged it in anyway. A similar sort of thing, and prior to that, I'd been going there before for years. I haven't noticed it. This is a fairly recent thing. So that's right. Yeah, this is odd. Right, what my other one? Don't want to be on too long. Strange stuff. It's regarding the trees. Now, I always grew up with trees that looked like this when I could find it. I took a picture of it. This is. Try and get this on. Yeah, that's it now. So, I always pictured. I know painting. I don't draw paintings of trees or anything. I'm not a tree expert. I just know from observations of what I've seen over the years. And trees for me always looked like, you know, that was his depiction of what a tree was like. You had the trunk, and it would grow like that. It would look like that. That was what trees were like. So I'm going to have to zoom in. Yeah, it's a better one. That was a classic symbols for what trees looked like. You had the main trunk, the branches would go all the way, and then they would fall down with gravity. You know, just sometimes they come down. They would intensely be growing up, then they would start coming down as the longer the branch goes. There's a bigger one. Oh, that's still odd. I'm trying to just show you how I always remembered what the trees, because I'm getting to the point in a minute and just kind of putting you in the picture first of all. And then just within the last couple of years, within the last few years, I started noticing really odd things with the trees. Now, like I say, no, I'm not a tree expert by no means, and this is just an observation because they're around me every day. It's an everyday thing, and I noticed there was a difference. I started noticing trees really appearing to be very bizarre, and it's trees that have been there for, you know, years and years. They start growing at ridiculous angles like this. This is just an example. I've got others as well. They start going at all these crazy angles and they're still alive. And when I show this, shown this to people, and they say, "Oh, it's just normal." It's not normal for me, because I've only until recently I've noticed this, and I'm no tree expert, so I wouldn't specifically be looking, at trees. That's just typical, is it? Aye. Always somebody, is there? Come on, I mean, it's like a magnet. You want peace in it. Oh, it was okay. Just no, don't. Oh, you got that. It's just sorry. Oh, you always get them. I think there's just no problem. I'm just distracted now. Where was I? I'm easily distracted. So there's another one. It's really odd because it's only got the short trunk. The trees were never like that for me. I've never seen trees grown out as low as that before, because back at, when I was a lot fitter back in, was it primary and that. I used to climb up the trees with my mates. We used to try and build 3 days, but we used to just climb them as high as we could go and everything, you know. Let's climb the trees, and it was quite awkward, but I was quite tall for my age, so I got up fairly easy. They always used to ask me to give them a heisty up. I'd get them up, then I would get myself up. But the whole point is that we had to give each other a heisty up, because it was high. It was quite high up before you could get to a branch to get up. They were never as low as that. You would get on that, no bother, and that's not even the worst. I've seen trees that are way down here, growing out the ground. You don't even need to climb them, you just stand on them. In fact, them, you can walk right along. Now, that's just at a crazy angle, it's like that, you know. That's just examples, by the way. This is another thing that's just bizarre. That light's reflecting off it. Oh, there we go. I hope you can see that. It's just nuts why it's just suddenly like it's bending like that. And that's never how they used to be for me. I find that odd. I really do. Because I wouldn't be making a song and dance about it if it was normal. It was never like that for me. It's only within the last few years trees have been really bizarre. As a lot of things, but trees in particular. There's certainly one prime example. This is another one. It's at a crazy angle. Now, I've got on my Quest series. I've got better examples than this. I haven't got the time to go to all these places today, but I just got some to try and give you an idea. But the perfect depiction of a tree was always, for me, was like the trunk that went up. You know, it was a straight enough trunk, and then it would come out like that, or at least maybe one would branch off. It was a sizable distance up from the ground before it started to branch off. But now you're getting now you get trees that are growing at weird angles, you know, like that, and with all these ridiculous curves. There's one, and this as well. There's another one in the. I'll show you in a minute. There's a close up of that one, by the way. So you don't even have to climb to get up it. You're up it already. It's just so low down, and sometimes this bit is coming at the ground. There are examples out there like that I've took pictures of. I just haven't got them here at the moment. Again, it's lopsided. It's grown like that and it's lopsided. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Just that's the way the trees were for me. They were healthy, they grew vertical, and they went up like that. And if the branches were coming down, it'd be because of the weight of them as they extended out. That's a bit out of focus. It's just the light that's yeah. That's all how it used to be. That's what the depiction of a tree was. Now, this is my point as well. Yep. I'll try and find. It's like trying to find the needle there. Yeah. Now I've got. This is wallpaper, right? And it's got patterns of a tree on them. Now, I haven't come across any depictions of trees looking like these really strange and weird trees. All the trees that have been depicted on the patterns, this might be hard to see now, are depicted the way I remember them being, how a tree should look like and how they used to look like. Well, I say should, I would say should meaning how they should look like to resemble how I remember them being, how they should look like for a remember that matches my memory of them. I don't know why they're like the way they are. I don't know how, but it's not how they used to be in my memory. It's only within the last few years that I started noticing the trees in a really bizarre, growing at crazy angles. There's another picture I'll show you in a minute it's just a ridiculous angle, but the point here I'm making is that this pattern that's on a wallpaper, right, and pictures I've seen of trees and other things as well, all depict trees the way I remembered how they should be, how they used to be. The way the branch, you get the trunk, branches go up, intentionally grown up the way, out the way, like that. Right? Nowadays, within recent years for me anyway, the branches are going down the way, which is nuts, right? They'll go up and start growing down the way. They will go up and the angle will be down instead of up, and it's touching the ground. I've got loads of pictures of that on my other logs. But my point is that paintings of trees, the tree symbol was always the way a tree should look like. And if it was normal, like if people were saying that, what I find bizarre regarding the trees to be normal, but why isn't any of the trees on here then? Why aren't they not used as a pattern on there? If it were normal, why would they use these ones? And I haven't seen yet a tree or a pattern that looks ridiculous, like, crazy angles as far as I'm concerned. I don't mean it ridiculous as in it shouldn't be, it's just ridiculous as to try and think that that's how I remember it. It certainly isn't. This, as it happens, is a picture I took of that design because it meets the skirting board. This is how they actually grow like. Now, that isn't how it's meant to look like, right? It's not meant to look like that. It just looks like this because it's the skirting board. It's how it's been trimmed. The wallpaper's been trimmed. Oh, that's not coming in very well, is it? I've just seen the reflection. Hang on. Yeah, so as it turns out, this is what I find bizarre, because there's trees out there these days that actually grow like this. This isn't made. This pattern isn't intended on looking like that. This looks like that because the wallpaper's been trimmed at the skirting board, right? But there's trees out there nowadays that's supposed to have been like that all the time, by the way, which is certainly not the case, right? That actually grow out the ground like that, right? Now, I've got pictures of them, loads of them, just not here at the moment, but I do have them. I've got them because I've logged them in for the times I started noticing them. But my point is, why is patterns not showing trees growing at ludicrous angles like the picture I'm about to show you? Like this, for instance. Well, I'll get a better one. Yeah, like that. That tree's still alive. It's been like that for the last few years. It's grown out the ground, and then it suddenly decides it's going to take a turn and grow up like that. So it comes out and goes, it's all bent. Why? I've seen loads of them like this now, lately, which I find bizarre. Why is it growing like that? It's almost like an S shape. It's just nuts, right? As far as I'm concerned, it's mad. Why don't they have patterns of trees behaving or looking like that? Why is that not in the wallpaper? If this is normal, like I've heard being mentioned, if this is so-called supposed to be normal, maybe normal for them, this is how the Mandela effect phenomena is like. Why isn't wallpaper and patterns and depictions of trees not showing it to be like that? Because if this is normal, why isn't it being shown that way on depictions of trees for patterns? You see, it might be a residue. Mandela effect residue. No, this language residue Mandela effect will be just totally double Dutch for anybody on there, or anybody that watches us at any point, at any time. It doesn't know about the Mandela effect. It'll just be like, double Dutch. It'll just be like, you'll be lost. But Mandela effect residue, it's referred to as of something. You could say maybe like evidence of something that was that wasn't. It doesn't sound like it makes sense, but I can't explain it. I'm not that good at explaining it. But if history's changed, right? If something changed in history, and there seems to be something that's not caught up with the change, then it still exists as it was before it gets updated, I suppose. Well, that old one, I think that's just going to break up because of the light being fluctuating. I can see it fluctuate. That old version will still be around for until it's updated. However, there is Mandela effect residue. I always use this one because it's a favourite of mine. It's easy. I remember it comes off the top of my head easy because that's the one I genuinely use. It's the spelling of Volkswagen. I've looked on websites that still have the old spelling Volkswagen. It's not misspelling because these websites are that deal in cars. Yet it's never been apparently Volkswagen. It's supposed to have always been Volkswagen. E-N at the end of it. It was always O-N for me, like. Always O-N for me. I've never remembered it being E-N until I came across that phenomena. I think I need to keep the light level stationary, because if there's a shadow, because it's getting dark, it might pixelate it. If I have a fixed light, it tends to keep the motion down on it, because the streaming doesn't know the difference in motion, and it's just, if the light's moving a lot, it doesn't keep up with the change in picture. But if I keep a fixed light on here, then it might get rid of that pixelation. So I've put these interior lights on just to hopefully help. Hopefully it won't flatten the battery. If things are changing at the speed of light as well is another thing that, oh God, I find it fascinating that if, say, the history's changed at the speed of light, it might be a delay of updating the change. But and then again, I don't know what's causing it. I mean, this is just concepts that I've heard, and some of them are widely accepted, like the speed of light. The trees do look strange, like it's young ones grown. Oh, these new angles, yeah. Well, the thing is, Braveheart, the trees that are grown at these angles, these crazy angles, they're trees that are really old. Mature trees that would have been around, and there's loads of it. It's a nationwide thing. In fact, it is nationwide, because I've seen it in England as well, all over Scotland and various places, and all this is within the last few years. Now, prior to that, I'd been all over the place as well, in my cars and my travels. I've seen trees, obviously, and I just noticed some, the trees, yep, it's a tree, blah, 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 for many years, until lately, in the last few years, I've noticed they're starting to grow at a crazy angle. That's why I'm making a song and dance about them, because they never were like that for me. Never. And yet, when I bring this to attention, a lot of people say, oh, it's normal. Then they give us an explanation as to why they grow that. Like, because it goes to the light of the sun. I know what they're saying, but the point I'm making is that they were never around, because these trees are old trees, mature trees, big trees, all over the place. And I would have clocked that before. If they were like that before, I wouldn't be making an issue of it. I'm only going on about it because it's bizarre to me. And I've been outdoors many times in the years. This is a found odd as well. I found this. I spotted this on a tree. Oh no! I think I have to put that off. So this isn't working as well as I thought. I don't know how well you can see that. That's maybe because I've took it in portrait. No. Well, I don't know what it is. It looks pretty odd to me. I hope you could see it. It's not the best. I could see it clearly myself, but it's on there. That's it there. It's on the sort of fixed to that tree. Was it on that one? Yeah, but it was. Well, it's not doing too well. Where have I got? I'm getting a problem with the light. Maybe I'll hold it back a bit further. No, this isn't working out as well as I'd like it to. Unfortunately, try to see a tree that's grown up like that. The next one is just grown like that. What the hell? Why did it grow like that? And then one of them's got this on it. Don't know what it is. I had a thought actually. No, this is another thing that's odd. It's trees grown to a side, like all the ground like that. This is bizarre to me. There was never this double trunk stuff. There was always one trunk that went up. There was none of this double trunk. That's quite unusual. Yeah, this is another thing. You get multi-trunk stuff as well. All this multi-stuff growing up the ground like that. It's almost like the bit that should be there is down there underground. That's how it should be. The trunk would come up, then that would be much higher. It's like the tree has just been pushed right in. Now these are fairly, they've been around a few years. They're not that old, but they're not that new neither. But there are older trees, old big trees, that are basically carrying on like this. Loads of places, and I would have clocked this before. It wasn't until lately that I started noticing all this stuff, and then beginning to notice that this isn't right. That's bizarre. And then when I bring it to attention to some sort of, they just say it's normal. They say it's because of blah blah blah, but they never used to be like that. And this is another thing that's odd, is that the tree grows up and starts to bend over at an angle at the top. It starts to bend round at the top, and there's no branches on this side, but there's branches on that side. Which, well, that's gone off. Hang on. See, I can't really see what I'm showing you, because if I get StreamYard, I might be able to do a better job of this StreamYard app. I could maybe bring up on the screen, but it's coming at an angle. It goes up and it starts sweeping over. There's no trees, there's no branches on that side, but on that side. I've done videos like that on up at Tillybackert. There's a tree there. There's loads of them, in fact, but I remember specifically doing a video on that and put it on one of my quests. So that was the trees. I think I've covered all for just now, because I don't want to make the video ridiculously long. Like, what else? Yeah, that's maybe a better picture of it. Yeah, that's maybe better. It's done landscape, you see, so you might be able to see that a bit clearer. So I don't know what really. I mean, the tree house, a bird feed, maybe, but it's odd because there's a much clearer view of that. This very peculiar tree, why it would grow like that. Started growing horizontal. Why does it do that? Never. Why aren't the paintings of trees like that then? When they do, artists draw paintings of trees, why don't they draw them like that? If this is normal. This isn't just here, by the way. I've seen this in many places nationwide. So as I said, I don't know what that is. I did think this reminded me of something. It made me think of something that I thought of back in early 2020, when about the March, April, May 2020, when I was out for the exercise. That was bizarre here anyway, but the birds, the noise the birds made when they were singing, you know, you hear them. I'm not a bird expert, by the way, and not a nature expert. It's just one of these things I used to hear, and you hear the birds singing, you know, that's how it was. Well, it's birds singing, you'd hear it. You'd subconsciously pick it up. You'd just say, it's just an everyday thing. Well, that year, 2020, I started noticing them, some of them sounding a bit almost too precise. There was a note that sounded too precise. It was almost like it was, I'm not saying what it is, I don't know. It's almost like a recording of a bird's voice. Specific note playing over and over. And it's not just at that area. I've noticed it in other places as well. I don't know what it is, I can't really. Just an observation that prior to that, I never thought much of it. I heard the birds singing, obviously, because they do. It's nature. Especially because at that time, prior to that as well, prior to 2020, right, going way back, I was up in the small hours going to my shifts, on some early shifts, and hear the birds. When you start hearing them singing, you know it's starting to get lighty shortly. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'd sit up late until it was getting lighty, as I genuinely do now anyway. And I'd hear the birds singing at 3 in the morning before I go to bed, before I go to my bed, maybe even 4. Sometimes I sit up till 3:30. I've been up as late as 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and everything in the morning. So I hear the birds singing when there's no traffic around. I hear them singing. And even way back in the night, even when I was at the school, the weekends used to sit up to the small. In fact, at that time I was out playing, I was out mucking about with my mates in the early 90s. You had a car, and sometimes you used to go, used to come up here actually, in the small hours, and then we'd muck about out in the streets until it was light up. I'd go home about 5 in the morning, and I'd hear the birds. I'd hear them singing, so I knew what they sounded like. I was no expert at it, but I subconsciously heard them. But in 2020, about the time when we had about that time, spring 2020, when I went out to exercise, you know, and not even that, there wasn't much traffic on the roads at that time. It was quiet, so the days were quiet. Even then, I could hear the birds, and it sounded too artificial. It sounded like it was a looped recording. It was just too precise. Something, when I heard it, but prior to that, subconsciously I would hear it, wouldn't think much of it. It was just an everyday thing. I started hearing this one, the subconscious picked it up, And I'm thinking to myself, that sounds strange. You know, it sounds like it. And when I saw that thing in that tree, I just thought, I wonder, because if it's artificial sounds, I don't know. I don't know, it could be anybody, does it? It could be anybody could just put up a box and play artificial bird sounds. But I've heard it more in one place, at different areas, at different times of the day. It's a Pacific bird note as well. It sticks in my mind. Prior to that, I never gave it much thought. Until, for some reason, well, why would I be even talking about it now? If there's something that hasn't, if nothing's changed. But I just found it odd anyway. Anyway, I'll have to maybe try and find a way I could show you pictures of stuff. I've had a I couldn't do my laptop because I need to have Wi-Fi. Print offs are rubbish. It's just the glare. I was trying to show you pictures on this device of other things. I've got tons of stuff I could show you that I find really bizarre if you're wanting to, hear us out. Anyway, there's other things coming up on my channel. I was doing a couple of updated videos of the status of the Dundee Start Leisure, where the old Odeon Cinema used to be. The cinema, this is quite bizarre anyway, the cinema was built in 1993. It was it opened as it was in use up to 2001, I think, round about then. Then they closed it down, and it's lay derelict for 20 odd years. And now they've knocked it down to build, they're building the new Home Bargains. However, the Start Leisure Park in Dundee, for those that don't know where that is, well, don't know what we're on about, if you're not from Dundee. The Start Leisure, they had the Zap Zone, they bought all this in 1992, roundabouts, well, opened about then. They didn't knock the Zap Zone down, it changed into a few other things. But the latest thing is the Home Bargains. So they've already got Home Bargains at the Start Leisure. So they knocked the old cinema that never lasted very long, they knocked that down to build another Home Bargains. I mean, they've got Home Bargains, they've got quite a few of them in Dundee already. They've got one in the stack, and they're going to build another one. They knocked an old cinema building down. They built a cinema that only lasted 8 years, sat derelict for 20 years, they knocked down to build a Home Bargains. Why could they not have used the building for the Home Bargain? Why do they need another Home Bargains? But anyway, it's not for me to, I'm just wondering, I just found that, but it costs money, a lot of money to do that. I don't have a lot of money and work hard and get paid not that much. I know that a lot of people are struggling for money. There's money shortages. There's all that, that cost all that money to build another Home Bargains. Anyway, I'm not. Why do they need another Home Bargains? They've already got. There's about a dozen of them in Dundee anyway. God Almighty, they've not. Why don't they just put the Home Bargains in the cinema? What do they need another Home Bargains for? Right next door to the one they've got. I mean, why? Why? Anyway, I don't make decisions. But that's the thing, I mean, you see, people vote thinking they're going to make a difference for, voting governments and all that. I won't go into it. Does it really, we get the feeling we're making a change, but how much has it changed? Do we really make a change? I won't go down it too much, but yeah, just a quick go over though. I don't know what was going on in the skies regarding these trails, as I'll call it. I'm not suggesting I could 100% be accurate in what I'm saying. I'm not making any claims or saying it's this or saying it's that. All I'm doing when I see these trails in the sky, this is just recapping before I end the stream because it's going to be too long otherwise. I've got much better examples than this, but this is something that I noticed as well. Unfortunately, it's not on this file, but there was breaks in the trail. It would be going along, then there'd be a stoppage, then it would go along more trail, then it would stop, then there'd be more trails. It's almost like they're switching the trail on and off. I would see, sometimes you could see about 4 of them going in a row. Why would they fly so close? Then I've seen them going round in circles. Why would they do that? I've got pictures of it as well. Shortly after this, right, you start seeing the clouds. It starts to haze over. A nice hot cloudless day, a nice warm pleasant yellow sun, a cloudless day like it used to be, becomes hazy and cold. Shortly after, I see this. It's more than once. I could practically say that not again. The weather's going to change. Every time, near enough, when this happens. And this is just one example, not just this one, but well, that was one example because after I saw this particular one, because I was there when it happened. Oh, sugar! Did I just show something I shouldn't? Damn it! No, it was my fault. Hope you didn't. Oh, that's the thing when I'm doing a live, eh? But it starts to haze over. So, and then this is another example. The clouds begin to become like oil paintings as well. The oil painting, it's like an oil painting. A lot of froth in the water. Just a wee recap. The froth sort of acts like a sticky kind of. That's how it behaves when I run my foot through it, my hiking boot through it. Don't know how you can see that. Hopefully you can see okay. What else is there? Let's just say that was at Clato. The River Tay, seen it in the River Tay as well. Seen it at Wormit Bay. I've seen it out in the mountains. I've seen it on the roads. I've seen it all around the country. And another thing when I've been all around the country as well is just tasting the water, the drinking water. It's almost like what you'd think AdBlue would smell like. That's the additive stuff you use for the diesel additive. It's like that. It's not, well, I don't know what it is, but it just reminds me of that anyway. Let's put it like that. It never used to be like that until lately. I notice it here where I live. I've noticed it all over the place, different parts of the country, as far as Johnny Groats, as south as London. Prior to that, when I went to different places around the country, the water had its sort of own taste sometimes. It was normally just, it was at the hotel, wasn't great like, but you could taste it different from other places. That was, what I'd expect. But now they've all got this thing in common. They've got this kind of taste that reminds me of the AdBlue that they add to. I haven't drunk AdBlue, by the way. No, I don't think that. What I mean is when you smell the AdBlue, well, that's the kind of what comes to mind. I don't know if it's something, but when you smell a diesel car with it's got AdBlue, the buses as well have it. You smell it. It doesn't smell that great, to be honest. It's like an inky smell. I don't like the smell of it, but that's what I get an idea of. That's what comes to mind. And it actually smells like that when you run the cold tap. You get a bit of that smell as well. Don't know what it is, but it's just my observation. It just reminded, makes me think of that, and it smells like it as far as I'm concerned. And bizarre weather patterns as well. This is all unusual within the last few years. There was one time in 2017, late 2017. I was driving the Whitfield bus as it was, and it was not long after the shortest day of the year. I think it was maybe a week after. It was between Christmas and New Year. It was round about then anyway. But it was about 5:30, back of 5, 5:30, going on about 5:20 or something. I'm sure I would have logged it down. And it was still kind of like a bit of light in the sky. It was a dark blue light. It was never like that before. Before then, it was pitch dark at that time of the year, at that time of the day. At that time of the day, for that time of the year, it should be pitch black. Because I remember back in the 80s, way back, 90s, at that time of the day, 5 o'clock, back of 5, between Christmas and New Year, it was pitch dark. The sky, regardless of the cloud, regardless if it was clear or cloudy or whatever, it was pitch dark. The sun had long gone. Well, in 2017, December, there was still a darkish kind of blue in the sky where the sun was you know, and that alarmed me. That did alarm me because I thought, that's really bizarre, you know. And I logged it there. I would have done a voice, I would have recorded what I was seeing, sort of thing, later on when I'd finished. Or, you know, when I got out the cab when I was on my break or something, I would make a recording of the date. Because just to keep a record of these things. I found that, you know, and it's still bizarre. The light levels are crazy. All the next year, that 2018, the sun was appearing to be like the colours, the sunset colours are in the wrong place. They were in the southeast and everything. They were in the south. There was a red ring right the way around the horizon. It was nuts. I had a load of pictures of them. But yeah. Right, I'm gonna have to go. So have a wee look, see what's going on. If there's anything in the chat. Oh, somebody's. I see. God, there's quite a few. Clato. Jeez, yeah, grow. They grow with wire fences and wine. Yes, Braveheart. The trees. I've got loads of pictures of the trees being merged into the fence. Now that again, it's like here's one for you. If you watch the film, the Philadelphia Experiment, USS Eldridge, 1943, World War II. They'd done an experiment with the radars. They were trying to get the ship to become invisible to radar, but the ship actually literally vanished, and it was elsewhere. I can't remember all the exact details, but it was far away. But the crew that were on it were really badly affected. That the bodies had merged in with the actual ship. So the human bodies, the people that were alive, apparently they were in the walls of the ship. So they like melted into the wall. They were all merged in. That's a difficult one to explain. I don't know the best way to explain it. Watch the film. It's like the fences with the trees in them. The trees with the fences in them, whatever way you want to look on it. It's merged in. The trees never used to grow through. No way with that. And again, this is something that I came across lately. I recorded it. I wouldn't be making an issue of it. I just stumbled across it in my everyday life. And I spotted it and said, this is, you know, where did this start? It's nuts. But it's like that. If you watch the Philadelphia Experiment, and you'll get kind of like an idea what I'm meaning when I say that the trees are merged in. And it's not just the fences. I've seen them with structures of structural parts of the fence going through them as well. Cables and everything. I mean, I've done a video on it lately as well where there's parts of the tree in the fence where there's no any evidence of a tree ever being there below it. It's just nuts. Totally bonkers like. Yeah, you know, in the lights on the doors. I see a lot of double chunks when two seeds stick together. Both of them. Yeah, the double chunks. Yeah, I know. The thing is, though, I'm not a tree expert. I don't need to be a tree expert. I don't know why they grow like that, but I could just be 100% certain it's a new thing for me. I've lived in Dundee all my life. I've been here for nearly 48 years, and it wasn't until the last few years that I started noticing this. I've been to all these places multiple times, and I can't have missed it. I don't know why they grow like that. I don't know, but they never were like that. It's just it's like it's always been that way, but it hasn't, if you know what I mean. It's never been that way before. It was never, because I wouldn't be making a song and dance about it. But it's just, you know, there's probably there will be explanations for it, and sure, like, but I know there's a mate of mine that I've mentioned, another one, he stays up, it's a mate of mine, I've known him for many years, and he's he's done a lot of studying in the science field of things, and he's given me explanations for a lot of stuff regarding clouds, plants. You would say that he was sceptical on what I'm saying. He thinks it's normal, offers me an explanation for it, which is fair enough. I'm not saying anybody's wrong on it. I don't really need to understand. I do, it's interesting, yeah. I've never been into biology as such. But it's the observation, it's the point of the principle of the matter that it's actually changed, whether it's trees or whatever. Signs, which have actually, there's a few bizarre things regarding signs, maybe for another video. I might do it live, we'll see, but then I can't, because if I move around it'll start breaking up, so I might have to make it as a video. I'll still be doing loads of videos, by the way. These lives are just a sort of something to try out, a wee change. But I still do loads of videos on them. I've done videos on this regarding structures as well that are odd. But it's the point that they've actually changed, you know. But that's here, though, not there. You must be from the other dimension. This is evidence of multiverse. Yeah, well, dimensions. You see, this is the thing. When we use the words and refer to the word dimensions and all that kind of stuff, that's the stuff that these words were taught to us, and we get the perception of what dimension means from what we're taught. Textbooks, things like that. I don't know. I've no idea. I'd like to know, but how do I know what's really going on? You know what I mean? But I do know I've experienced it. I know what I've experienced. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be excited about it because I am. I do. I find it fascinating. I find it amazing. That's why I find it disappointing when somebody speak to people about it. That, like somebody said that, oh, it was just a wee Mandela effect. It doesn't matter, it's just a wee thing, it's a letter that changed, so what? But they're missing the point. They're missing the point. The fact that it's happened is just mind-boggling. It's off this planet. It absolutely changes every single thing that we've been taught, as opposed to what's been science fiction and science fact. Right? When we get taught that, I don't know, but certainly from when I was at school and when I grew up, I was put to me that that's science fiction, which I was fascinated in, but it doesn't make me biased, by the way. But I was always fascinated in science fiction stuff, and science fact. And I was always told, that's just science fiction, that's impossible. Oh, we're light years away from that. We'll never get to that. There's not technology like that. No. Well, I don't know, but I do know that what I've experienced is definitely something that's not within the science fact. There's no explanations of it in what we've been taught, or I've been taught in the science facts. So it's all this world, and it's what was that? It's just amazing, Oh, it's just it was that fizzing. Because I get a bit nervous when it starts getting a bit dark. Well, by the way, I just tried that out. This is a limited edition. It tastes quite good, by the way. I was going to tell you what I thought of it. It's actually quite good. It's a bit like cream soda. Iron brew, it tastes like cream soda. But yeah, it doesn't matter how... seeing it about to go and more people join. Welcome to join. Yeah, the stuff I've been taught is what's to be science fact doesn't come anywhere near what I've experienced. It's dismissed as impossible, So if somebody says, it's just a wee thing, they're missing the point. It doesn't matter. It's a massive thing. It's out of this world thing. Even if it's just a wee grain of sand. It's huge. It changes everything. And that's why I got really, really upset once in March 2019. Because I came across this phenomenon where some people were just not interested. It seemed like I could show them the evidence of stuff. Well, not evidence. I don't know how I showed them things. Yeah, because it was evidence. Yeah, because they agreed and then suddenly changed their tune. I'll give you an example. I'm not naming anybody, obviously, but I was speaking to somebody that I knew very well. I was speaking to a friend. Yeah, I haven't seen them for a while now. Come on, just beating about the bush. Right, I was speaking to someone about something, and it was about something that they were, I won't use the exact term that they used, but they were more than 100% certain of this. So I showed them proof that it had changed. Proof as in what you call proof, like something off the. It was a caption of this film, right? It was about a film. I just don't want to give too many details away because it's somebody. I'm not wanting to do that, but I'm just showing you the principle, right? They swore more than 100% that this didn't happen. Now the point in getting is this: I showed them more than one footage of this film online or on my phone. Actually, I showed them it, and it had changed, and they. I says to them, they were adamant that this wasn't the case. And when I showed them it, I showed this person footage of this on more than one site. I was like, oh, no, but prior, they were more than 100% certain. They swore on, right, absolutely certain. And when I showed them the proof, I might have been wrong. No, I got it wrong. Yeah. And that's when I started realising that there's more to this phenomena. That not only is it the phenomena, but it also has an effect on people's. I don't know. It's got an effect. It must do, surely, because that was just one example. There's other examples where I've shown stuff. I've shown them something that's really odd, but they'll still dismiss it. And in March 2019, I got really upset, but I really, when I say that, what I meant is the stuff that I photographed. That's why I was hesitant to say when I've got pictures of this stuff in 2018, because I got really upset, and there's a few other things I just said, what's the point? I just deleted a lot of them. I got really angry actually, and I just threw a lot of stuff out because I was just wasting my time. And what was the point? It's almost like, in fact, it was. I says, I bet you. I said an alien spaceship could just land right there, and they would still dismiss it as something like a giant hamburger fell out, something ludicrous. They would dismiss it. It would show them right there. The proof would be right in front of them, and they would dismiss it as, it must just be, what's the point? And that's what I was like. I just got really upset. But then that's when I started recognising that there is something else going on that's possibly mind control, that's controlling people's perceptions, maybe, I don't know. Mind control, by the way, sounds far-fetched, etc. But earlier on in this, I was mentioning that Wi-Fi, for example, may interact with human thoughts. I don't know, this is just stuff I've heard before. If it does, then going on the science side of it, interaction with the electrics in the brain, the electrical impulses, if they could be manipulated with waves that could penetrate through meat, i.e. Microwaves, because they publicise that microwaves are, the microwave oven uses 2.45 gigahertz, the Wi-Fi is the same frequency. If it could penetrate through meat for that reason, it could penetrate into the head. It could be a carrier signal. It could have pulses within that could trigger off maybe stimulants in the brain. It could cause hallucinations, thoughts, mood changes, stuff like that. Now, I don't know this because I haven't tried it. I'm not claiming to do that at all. All I'm saying is it's out there. I've saw it online. That's what I mean. Online, you know what I mean? Online means shit. It means nothing. Not even this is real. What you're looking at isn't even real. What you're seeing on there is just a light and sound. Anything you get on a second-hand bit of information, anything that's second-hand could only ever be second-hand. That's why video evidence isn't it's only worth what it's believed to be. Video evidence is actually the contrary. It could be the exact opposite, because it could be, like I showed earlier about the pictures of the cars, that didn't exist, that were photoshopped. That's just an example. I was just only using that. I didn't take the pictures. The pictures are online, and I was amazed by them. I'm not showing or naming or anything to do with who put them up there. Like that. I was just using their pictures as a means to demonstrate the principle I was making, which was that it's amazing what they could do with photos and photo doctoring these days. And there's a prime example, because when I came across that online with Austin Allegro, I said, there's no way that was like that. Never. And then I looked further and researched, and it is photoshopped. And then I nearly fell for it with the Ford Cortina, the 3-door version. But I thought again, I think I kind of remember it because it looked quite smart, and I would have liked it. I liked it now, and I would have liked it then, and it kind of. So not everything's a Mandela effect. I don't just dismiss everything as a Mandela effect. I do tend to think about it, but when I've come across some that really are out 100%, you know what I mean? I could go on about it for ages. There's loads of them. I mean it, and yet I could even. Because there's proof as well. Mandela effect residue. There's. The spelling of Volkswagen, I always like that one because it's easy. It comes off the top of my mind. And it's one I can 100% relate to because it's about cars for one. I've got car books, I've maybe said there's more than so I've said it more than once. There's car books I got from my mate in the early 90s, and I've been reading them because I like knowing how cars work. And there's as soon as I came across that Mandela effect with the spelling of Volkswagen, it used to always be O-N at the end of it. And when I realised it changed to E-N, it blew me away, because then I went and got the books out the cupboard that haven't left the house. I haven't been altered in any way. It's the original books, and the spelling in these books are changed as well. I couldn't believe it. That was like the tipping point. I always knew there was something anyway. I never dismissed it for 1 second when I came across the phenomenon of the Mandela effect, because I experienced it even before I came across the term Mandela effect. But just not as much, but there was always something. I never forgot the things. There's things way back in the 80s I'll never forget. But, it's on the same sort of lines of that. Doesn't mean they're all from the same source. Like, there was a mention that it could be quantum computers. I've heard that as well. Quantum computers that were living in a simulator. And actually listening to an audiobook by David Icke. And it's called The Trap. I can't show you what it looks like because it's on there. But if you type it in, David Icke audiobook, he does a book. He actually does a book as well that you could read. It's called The Trap. But I find it easier just going on the audiobook because I could just listen to it while I'm driving. And I could listen to it when I'm walking around with my headphones on my break. And whatever else I'm doing. I prefer audiobooks. And David Icke's audiobook, The Trap, goes into a lot of the idea of being in a simulator. And I find it very, very interesting. I remember all the slugs being black. I know they're brown ones. Soviet. You remember all the slugs being black. I know they're brown or stripy. Yeah, there's something odd about the slugs and snails. There's just loads more than there used to be on the pavements. They're everywhere. I know that they come out in the damp weather, but it's just ridiculous how many there are there. I go up the steps, I put the car in the lock-up and I walk up home and route home. It's the same route I've done for many years. Many years I've walked that same route. And within the last few years, there's been snails all over the steps. You can't avoid when it's dark and misty, you don't see them. You can't avoid standing on them. I hate doing it. I'm like, oh no, again. Yeah, I try to avoid them, obviously. But there's a crazy amount of them. And I've noticed that I was hiking yesterday up by Braemore, up that way. There's a Corbett. I went up the mountain with the hike club, and there was loads and loads of these jet black slugs on route there. We're off, on cross country, And actually, if you watch my video, I'm going to put a video up. I've made it. I've just got to publicise it. I've got that many, so I've got to publicise them in order. It's the hike from Invercold Estate to Caladach Mountain or something it is. Caladach. The last hour is with the Caledonian Hill Walking Club. That's what I'm with, Dundee based. Been there for many years now, 14 years now actually. And yesterday I was hiking with them. Saw loads of these black slugs en route. well, in fact, all throughout the 12-mile hike. They were everywhere. I remember slugs being kind of, because back in 1986, I remember I got a coffee jar and I put leaves in it. I took one back. I was only about 11-year-old, and I was just sort of having a look at this. I was playing around. I used to catch bees as well. You know, you get a coffee jar, catch the bees. Kids, you know, me and my mates used to do it. I let them go again. I remember another thing, bees. There's a lot less bees, by the way, than what there used to be. That's a big decline in bees. I don't know if Wi-Fi. Don't know, but I might interfere with is it the circadian rhythm that the bees use? I know they have sensors. Might interfere with them, so they lose their way. But the slugs were kind of greyish colour. I remember them being a kind of greyish colour. They weren't overly. Some of them were long, but now they're kind of fatter, bigger, and jet black. And there's a hell of a lot more snails, big ones, big snails, all over the pavements. Never used to be like that. I find that really bizarre as well. You know. What else? Right, so yeah, I'm gonna have to get going. Jeez. God almighty, that's the time. Anyway, look, I'm glad you all came on. I'll do lives again. It's great interacting with you as well. I like that. I find a lot of stuff interesting, like the multiverse and that. And watching 1996 DVD box set called Sliders. And it's literally about that, sliding between multiverses. It just resembles what the Mandela effect is. I also, what was the other thing? There's the black and white Twilight Zone called The Parallel. That was broadcasted in 1963. And it's just like the man's parallel to the Mandela effect. No, Mandela effect wasn't even dubbed that until after the reports of him dying in the 80s or something. But he didn't actually die till the 2013 mist. And I mean, that's just how they dubbed it. I didn't name it the Mandela effect. I don't know the full ins and outs, but I just know that it's been dubbed it. It seems to be a well-known term for it. But again, I got to ask myself that is everything that changes. That, by the way, is just the timer, so it doesn't flap my battery in case you're wondering. You've got to ask yourself, is everything that's referred to as a Mandela effect, has it all been affected by the same source? Or is it each to their own? Is it because of something else? Or is there something else going on that causes this effect and other effects as well? And this is a byproduct of other effects that are going on. Like time speeding up. I've experienced time speeding up big time. I'd say, but you know what I mean, that's just a big time. I just happened to say that. But yeah, it's sped up. I'd say by a factor of 1.5 to 2 times, I kid you not. Within the last few years, 2016 sort of time. 2017, 2018, it's got faster. There was bizarre stuff going on slightly before that. There was always bizarre stuff going on before that. But it was more, 2016 was more a kind of, it was almost like it was official, if you like. That year was just started in spring 2016. I just kind of like the term wakening up. I don't really like to, this is just the terms that you get online, the Great Awakening and all this kind of stuff, truth channels and all that, you know. I don't know. Again, if it's online, it means it's second-hand information. Even this isn't real. Well, all you're looking at is an image and a sound from your device. It's not the real deal, but it's only your brain that makes it, gives you information that you decode as it this, and sitting in a car, it's me talking to you and you hear the English language. You know, it's your brain that takes what your device is emitting out. You know, you're seeing the image and you're hearing the sounds that your device is replaying, and your brain decodes it as it's Chris Reynolds sitting in his car. And you probably heard a horn being tooted over there, and it's dusk. Well, you know, but that's not real. That's just your device, and it's the interesting bit is that we take the information from a device and act on it as if it is the real deal. And it manipulates us because we're acting on it, and we do it every time we use a monitor to, like for example, there's vehicles fitted with monitors in place of a mirror, the wing mirror, you know. So we put my life in to depend on monitors, but it's not the real thing, and it's training us to accept that that's reality. What you're seeing on the screen, it's what you're seeing on the screen. I don't know what else is being emitted from it, but it's light and sound. So, and it's your brain that then puts that idea. It's putting ideas into your brain. Doesn't mean it's the real thing. So, oh god, I'm getting tired now. I better get going. Yeah, thanks for the stream. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go only tiny snails where I am. Yeah, snails now are massive. There's so much more of them. Loads of them, and they're much bigger. Yeah, give it a go. That's good. You take care as well. It's good to for you to join in. You're gonna be able to watch the parallel. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. Hope you do. Okay, so I'm going to just round it off. It's nearly 2 hours. I was only really trying to aim to do it, get all that done within an hour, but as always, takes twice as long, does it? But time has sped up. The fact that I would say by 1.5 to 2 times. I was on holiday back in 2019. I was up at Dalwhinnie, and I remember it was 1 elephant, 2 elephant to gauge a second. You can't even do that now. It's like 1 elephant, 2 elephant for each second. The one word for each second. It used to be 2. It's sped up. It really has. I can't get as much done, and not just saying that because I'm getting older and I can't get as much done in a day as I used to. And it's just because of that. No, it actually has sped up, meaning that really has. And there's this something else that's going on that's causing all these bizarre weather phenomena. Time speeding up, what we call the Mandela effect phenomena. Right, I'm going to go as well. You enjoy the parallel. You're probably off now. I hope you. I thank everybody that's came on. Good to interact with these. Just keep an eye out on my channel. See what else I put up. I'll still be doing videos. And you all take care. Okay. Just going to end this. Or probably take a bit. Okay. Thanks very much. I'm going to have to go. Bye. Bye for now. Thank you for watching.